Natasha, and thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today we are going to be exploring wax seals, which is something that I haven't used much in my card making, but I just want to share some ideas of how to incorporate these in your everyday cards. Now, obviously, I am just getting set up here. I had lost my little spoon, so this is one from Altenew, but again, lots of companies sell them. I use the little method here where I have the candle underneath the burner, and so this just is one way of doing it. I know that you can get glue guns and put the wax glue sticks through those as well if you want to. So it just depends, you know, what you have available, or what you already have, or what your preference might be. I guess the wax gun would probably be much easier, but this is what I have, so that's what I'll use. Now, these are the little wax sealing beads. This is what I use. Again, you can have sticks to do this if you're putting it through a gun, but I just put 3 or 4 in these. Generally, once I start off with 4 because a little bit of the wax generally sticks to the inside of the spoon, but from there on I pretty much do 3, and I find that a good amount. Now, you need a non-stick heat resistant surface, so I am just using my non-stick mat from the Tim Holtz glass media mat. I'm using that little replacement mat, and this worked absolutely fine. I have these stamps. I have a few of them. These kind of screw on and off so that you can replace the heads and have different patterns or different sentiments or whatever you would like. So you just know that it's ready to pour when it's obviously all melted, and it's all nice and melted there, so it's good to go. I put in a couple of different colors. If you want, you can kind of swirl it up a little bit more, but if you just want it to kind of as is, it really is just kind of an experiment thing. See how you go. Now, I didn't have my head thing ready here on my stamp, so I just quickly screwed it on. Then I'm going to pour it out, and I mean, you don't have to be quick at this process, but you kind of also don't want to muck around, I guess. So, you know, the wax is going to harden relatively fast. It is summer here in New Zealand, so it is warmer, but the wax is still going to harden pretty quickly, and then you get all these gorgeous patterns. This one is a love heart. If you want, you don't like that kind of excess bit around the edge, you can trim this, and you can, that's okay too. If you like a more even around the edge, then what I find is I kind of hover the wax seal, the wax stamp here, I hover it for just a second and then let go, and then you get kind of more of this even seal. If it doesn't bother you and you just like the unevenness and you just like it all natural and gorgeous, then just plonk it on and see what you get. So you really, it is kind of a trial and error thing to see what you like, what you prefer, what suits you and your style. And I just did a whole lot of colors here, and I actually do have, I mean, I've got lots of ideas of how I can use these, but I just thought I'm just going to keep the video to a normal kind of length today. And yeah, but it is fun. This is something that I haven't done in a long time. I had all the bits and pieces ready to go, so it was lovely to be able to get them out again and have a play. Now, my preference is that I create these and I store them. So when I have it all out and I've got the wax going, I tend to just make lots of them and enjoy the process and kind of sit down and just focus on this, and then I store them. I do know obviously that you can do this on your project. Now, if you're wanting to trap things in them like flowers or grasses or ribbons or twine or anything like that, then obviously you probably need to do them fresh when you're putting it onto your project. But this way works just fine for me. I just create lots of different kinds, lots of different colors, and then usually when I'm coming to use one, I have something that I can kind of make work. And you'll see when I make a card with these that it pretty much is just how it goes. It's kind of, you just swap in 1 or 2, see which one is going to work best. And yeah, I just like doing this because, as I said, they don't take much space to store like this, and it means I don't have to get out everything every time I want to create one. I don't have to kind of fire everything up and clean everything out afterwards, so I like doing them ahead of time. Now, I am just going to start creating a few little bits and pieces. This is some craft cardstock. I use the Lawn Fawn one. There's lots of brands out there. I'm going to create a mini envelope. Now, I am just going to go with a 3.5 by 3.5 inch. So you just start off with a square. You can use any size square you want, any square. Mini is big or as small as you want. I fold it in half and crease it. Fold it in half the other way and crease it just so you can find the middle point. Then fold any 2 opposing points in to meet each other, just meet them in the middle. and then you fold the bottom one up to meet across here. So you want all 3 of these points to line up. So I'm just going to fold this up and have all 3 of these points line up before I crease it down and get it in place. And then either you can leave it like that. My preference is to fold this either down or in this little tab here, and I have it meet up with the 2 little sides. So where the 2 little sides are, and right there and there, I am going to have them, that's where the fold is going to be. Then all I do is I can use some either liquid glue, or you can use some dry adhesive, say double-sided tape, and then I just get everything sorted. Because I've used liquid glue today, I'm going to use some reverse tweezers just to hold this in place while it dries. These are really good because obviously they're reverse, so when you let them go, that's when they are pinched together. And then just for a final touch, I just use my corner rounder, and I like the top of my little envelopes rounded. I have a video not very long ago making my own mini envelopes and using them on card fronts as well, so there's that if you're interested. This one here is the Outlined Hearts die by Waffle Flower. We made this card together the other day where we kind of coordinated everything basically just using one colour. It's sort of a cheats hack to create a coordinating card. But I'm going to use, I have the leftover hearts from this, from inside obviously. So that is one reason why I love this die, is it creates lots of different things. It creates the negative, it creates a positive, and it also creates that little outline. So perfect, I like that. Now, I do like to be quick and easy. I could have ink blended all of these, but I have 5 Oxide sprays. That's all the colours that I have. And this pinky one, it's actually Saltwater Taffy. It's sort of a apricot-y, orangey, pinky kind of colour. And I thought, why not? I'll give it lots of texture with the spray. I'm just going to dry these really quickly because I'm also going to add some white dots onto these. Some sort of white spritz. Now, I did not let these dry. If I had let these dry, this gloss spray here, the Dina Wakley one, is the best one for keeping a true white colour when you do splashes. But whatever you have underneath must be dry, otherwise 2 wet things are always going to mix. So I did use the heat gun, I didn't use it long enough, I had sprayed too much and it was still very wet. So the white splotches don't stay as white, but this is if that's dry underneath, this is, even if you put it on top of oxides, which react when something is wet, even if you put it on top of oxides, and the oxides were dry-ish, when you splattered this on, it's going to stay nice and bright white. Now, this is the second one I'm going to use, because in the back here you can see I have some of these stored, and this was on my desk from the last project, so I may as well use this. I'm cutting lots of corners today, and that's okay. This one is from Momenta. As usual, everything will be linked down below. This was a relatively good price for a background die, and I'm just going to be spraying some blue right over top of this. And again, I get lots of texture, it's quick, and because I've already die cut it, it means that I don't have to fussy like with trying to delicately ink blend it without ripping it. So that was a good choice for me. Now I'm going to take, this is something new I'm trying. I'm going to try this Hero Arts, Hero Hues cardstock. This is like a really dark navy color. It actually almost looks brighter on camera, but I'm going to create some card bases with this. I am very plain and boring, and I like my white card bases, and I don't have a whole lot of storage space for other colors, to be honest. But I have been convinced recently to try some cream cardstock and some of this navy, and I think that's just going to help me branch out a little bit and create some card bases. Obviously this is too dark to write in the middle unless you had like a silver pen or something like that. So I'm just going to pop some little white inserts on the inside. I think I forget to show that, I can't remember, but that's what I did anyway, so that someone can write in the center. Now, this does not have any double-sided adhesive on it when I previously die cut it. Obviously it was just a spear, and so I just popped it in the back there. I didn't know what I was going to be using it for. So I have just put some double-sided adhesive down the strips, down the sides of it, and then I'm going to add some liquid adhesive just into the little bits and pieces. Now, I know that this is where my envelope is going to go, so it's going to get covered up. So that's why there's that big blob of double-sided adhesive that I've put down on the on the card base. That's why it kind of looks like I've plopped it there randomly, but I'm just going to pop a little bit of double-sided adhesive, liquid adhesive there, and then that way I'm just going to put this on an angle just for something different. This is purely background noise. I suspect if you used a stencil that was similar and you were to use Oxide, something that showed up on darker cardstock, you're going to get a similar gorgeous look for a little bit of background noise as well. I think that would have worked completely perfectly, but this was right in front of my face. It was already die cut and it was ready to go. I cut off the little excess pieces and might even save those. They could be good for a project. And then we are going to just put a little bit more adhesive on the back of my envelope. This is going to get stuck down exactly where that first bit is that I plonked there, just on a little angle. And then out of this, it's actually a fully functioning little envelope. Obviously the top is not going to close. I think I popped adhesive on there. But it's at this point that I realized I forgot to do the gold thread that I wanted to do wrapped around here. So I am going to rip this off, and this was a risky procedure because usually that double-sided tape is strong, but I did rip it off. There is a little bit of damage, but it's going to be covered again, so that's okay. I have some gorgeous gold thread, and all I'm going to do is get a relatively long piece of this, and I'm just going to wrap it around and around and around. This already has the adhesive on the back from where I stuck it down originally, so the thread is going to stick to that, and this again just adds a little more detail, just a couple of extra little bits and pieces, and that can sometimes really elevate your card. So pop it back down, then the hearts are going to kind of come out of the envelope, and I'm just going to arrange them gently, and then I did decide that I wanted them to be at some different levels, so I'm going to pop up a couple on some foam dots. But these originally had stick-it double-sided adhesive on the back of them, so for some of them I'm able to just use, just peel off the back, and the adhesive is already there. It's nice and strong, so I have no worries about that, but just to give it some dimension, as I said, I'll pop a couple up on some foam, and then the rest will just go down nice and flat. Now, of course, you can kind of take this card as far as you want to, or not, I guess. So you could stop here. You don't have to have a sentiment on here. Sometimes I have been leaning more towards cards that don't have sentiments. I feel like they're very versatile that way, and it's sort of someone's interpretation of whether that card works for the occasion they want it for or not. So, you know, they can decide whether that's kind of the right design on the front for whatever their occasion is. But here is where I'm going to bring in my wax seals, and I want my little wax seal to go on the front of my envelope. Now, of course, usually the wax seal would be used to seal the envelope shut, but in this case, it's just a decorative factor, and I like that it's placed over top of that gold twine, that little gold thread as well. So I'm just trying a few here to see what works. I have a few that are in blues, and I'm kind of going with the bluey pinky theme, and really I could choose any of them. There's lots that are going to work, but I think I'll go with this one. Now, all I do when I come to pop these down is I just use some liquid glue. You want to make sure that you've got a really strong glue, because obviously I don't want it going anywhere. Now, these are some sentiments from, this one is from Simon Says Stamp. There are lots of different companies that do printed sentiments these days. You guys know that I have been loving the printed sentiments in the last 6 months or so, or a year maybe, I'm not even sure how long, and that's okay. It's okay to take some shortcuts, and these have been working really well for me. So I just really like the different variety that are on these ones. But Paper Rose is my other favorite brand for those, and if you've watched my channel, then you'll definitely know that the ones that I'm talking about, in particular the All Occasions and the black and white set are my favorites. Now, this little sentiment here could go in so many different places. I could pop it across the envelope, I could just pop it to the side. There's lots of different places, and I really just tried out several of them. I just pop it there and see if I like it, or shift it if I don't. Then I thought I would do some little angled ends, and everything comes together pretty easy, pretty nicely. So I had a whole lot of fun creating this card. Let me know if you are interested in some more cards that use up the little wax seals. Now, of course, as I said, you can sort of pre-do them, pre-make them, or you can do them on the card, and that's fine. And of course, you can include lots more dried flowers and things like that, which often look really nice behind them. But yeah, let me know if you're interested. And other than that, I can either just do it myself and not film them, or I'm happy to film the videos as well. And then this one here, I did pop some foam tape. I popped the sentiment up on a little bit of foam tape so that it was kind of raised up again, so it just sticks off the background nicely. But I like the blue card base. I was happy with that. It was something a little bit different. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. Otherwise, let me know what you think of this card today. Let me know if you use wax seals at all, or if it's something that's kind of in the bottom of your drawer, at the bottom of a cupboard, waiting to be used again. But other than that, there will be links down below, of course, and there will also be links to the Buy Me a Coffee website if you would like to support my channel, which I appreciate so very much. Other than that, I will see you in the next video.